Welcome to Section 6, Desired State Configuration. In this section, we'll first look at what is desired state configuration and why you'd want to use it. After that, we'll take a look at some common resources that are built into the basic module for desired state configuration, and then also look at how to find and install other modules for use within DSC. Then we'll spend some time creating and running a manifest, so just the basics of getting how to structure that document to get DSC to run. And then after that, we'll essentially go back to what we did at the beginning of the course when we created a web server, except instead of the manual process, we're going to take that, translate it into a desired state configuration document, and then we'll go ahead and run that and have a functioning web server when we're done. So the infrastructure I'll be using for this section is going to be our domain controller, DC01, which will also used to create a file share later on in the course. And then we'll also be creating a new web server, so I'll have Web03, and this will be named and domain joined, but other than that, it's going to be a complete basic server with no configuration having been done yet. So let's move into about DSC. In this video, we'll look at just a general overview of the what and whys for desired state configuration. Now, let's start with what is desired state configuration. A technology that comes now in Windows Server 2016 can also update the management framework to have similar access in Windows Server 2012 R2, but what it allows you to do is ensure the desired state of your system. So let's unpack that a little bit. Now, in some of the previous videos, we've performed manual steps to configure what we need. If you're a sysadmin or if you've been one a while, you typically will have your own set of scripts, or maybe your group in your office would have a set of scripts that you use to configure servers. And this could be batch files, PowerShell, any other scripting languages if they're available on the system. But everybody might have their own way of doing it. One of the first things you get with DSC is it's a declarative language, so you are declaring resources, you are declaring parameters for those resources, and you are wrapping those up in a configuration block. So we have a configuration that says these resources are going to be set up with these settings, and when you run this document, it will ensure that all of those resources are in the state that you've asked for. Now, what is a resource? A resource could be anything on that system, a file, a user, a package, a service. There are additional ones that you can install, additional modules for DSC that create resources for IIS websites or SharePoint. There's Active Directory, just about anything. There will be a resource block that you can create and modify the settings on that object. So why would you want to use desired state configuration over your typical scripting methods? Well, one of the first things that I like about it is there is a common language and method for which you are configuring your boxes. So again, taking the example of having a team that you're on in your organization, everybody might have their own way of doing things. So some may just have their own private collection of scripts. You may have some of your own. There may be ones that you should all use as a team, but some of those might be PowerShell or Batch or other scripting languages. And what this allows you to do is have that common framework that everybody can work off of. As a result, you're putting things into code and checking those things into, say, a version control system. So now you have a place where everybody can see and can contribute to these configurations instead of having these little silos per person or team where these scripts are located. Another thing it does is it reduces human error. If you have to go do the same task over and over and over again, chances are you might mistype a letter or do something out of sequence or forget one of the tasks. With desired state configuration, when you declare the state you want to have set and execute that, the system will go and, as they say in the documentation, make it so. It knows how to make all of these resources comply to what you've asked, and it'll go out and do that. That greatly reduces the chance for human error, which means you're going to have systems that are configured and very similar in fashion across the board. So if you need to build 100 web servers, they're going to be identical in everything but the actual server name. Another plus here, if you're working in a hybrid environment, you have a lot of Linux and Windows systems, or if you're using another configuration management tool like Chef or Puppet, DSC works with those services. So you can use the providers for Chef or Puppet, you can pass through to DSC, and you can apply these configurations. And because of this, DSC branches out much further into the Windows world. So if you need to run it for configurations on, Exchange, Active Directory, SharePoint, all these various Windows offerings where there may not be modules in the Chef or the Puppet world, you can now do this with DSC. You also get to take advantage of whatever you're using at that other configuration management tool level. So if you have a data backend where values are stored based on locations or however you slice up your organization, you can use all that data from the configuration management tooling. You can use all the reporting mechanisms from that tooling. You can use DSC as that last step to actually validate and apply the configuration.